Very good evening. Welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ashwarya with you. All the big stories from India and across the world coming up in the next 30 minutes. First up, a look at the top headlines. National Ganga Council holds its first meeting in Kanpur. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews progress of works under the Namami Ganga project, takes stock of river cleanup efforts over boat ride. Need to adopt a multi-pronged approach to double farmers' income by 2022, says Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu. In a tweet, in an address at Anand, Vice President calls for renewed attention to agro-industries, cold storage, warehousing, food processing, dairies, fisheries and allied activities. Campaigning ends for fourth phase of elections in Jharkhand. BJP President and Union Home Minister Amit Shah holds public rallies in Girdi, Dhanbad and Deoghar. Voting for 15 assembly seats to take place on 16th of December. Fastags to be effective at all toll booths from midnight. Vehicle drivers can pay toll charges with electronic cards. Will have to pay penalty for entering wrong lanes. And heavy snowfall in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. Jammu and Kashmir National Highway shut down for the second day due to landslides. Thousands of vehicles stranded. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed the progress of the Namami Ganga project aimed at cleaning a river Ganga on Saturday. And chairing the first meeting of the National Council for Ganga in Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, Prime Minister Modi said that rejuvenation of the Ganga should be a shining example of cooperative federalism. Reviewing the progress of works under the Namami Ganga project in the stretch that is considered the most polluted, Prime Minister Modi discussed various aspects with focus on Swachhata, Avirilta and Nirmalta. He noted that a lot has been accomplished since his government took up the Namami Ganga project in 2014. Prime Minister Modi also pitched for a holistic thinking process where Namami Ganga evolves to Earth Ganga or a sustainable development model with focus on economic activities related to the river. The meeting was attended by Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat and Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Sushil Modi. Several union ministers and officers of central and state governments were also present in the meeting. And Prime Minister Modi also visited an exhibition on Namami Ganga mission, showcasing the work done for the cleanliness of River Ganga before the meeting. Accompanied by the chief ministers and other dignitaries, Prime Minister Modi visited Atal Ghat near the Ganga Barrage in Kanpur to assess the works done under the project. He also undertook a half-an-hour-long cruise on the river Ganga. Prime Minister Modi also visited the Sisamo drain, which has now been converted into a selfie point after the drain was stopped from flowing into Ganga. After the launch of the Namami Ganga project, 13 out of the 16 major drains in Kanpur have been completely stopped from flowing into the river and the sewage has been diverted to treatment plants.
जहां 14 करोड़ लीटर रोज गंदगी नदी में आती थी, वो कैसे बंद हुई है वो हमने देखा। तो प्रधानमंत्री ने उसका जायजा लिया। आज के बैठक में भी उन्होंने सारे मुद्दों को स्पर्श किया, नई नई कल्पनाएं भी बताई। पूरी गंगा को अविरल भी बहाना और साफ भी करना, ये दोनों संकल्प किया है। यूरोप के नदियों को साफ करने को 30 साल लगे, हम उससे बहुत ज़्यादा जल्दी मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में पूरी गंगा, क्योंकि औद्योगिक प्रदूषण कम हुआ यहाँ आना अंदर, जो गंदगी आती थी, सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट 28,000 करोड़ के लगे भी और कुछ काम चल रहा है, और उसके साथ साथ सभी मोर्चों पर वहाँ वनीकरण भी हो रहा है। तो ये एक जन आंदोलन बन चुका है।
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu attended the 40th Foundation Day of Institute of Rural Management at the National Dairy Development Board, Anand, in Gujarat today. And appreciating the Institute of Rural Management, the Vice President said that since its inception in 1979, the institute has been working tirelessly to build an India that Sardar Patel and Mahatma Gandhi had dreamt of. He added that the institution is a testimony to the leadership and far-sightedness of Dr. Verghese Kurian. Addressing the event, he said that in order to make India's growth story inclusive, one must address the regional disparities in development. He added that institutes like IRMA can play a big role in transforming the rural economy. He also said that proper training and mentoring is a prerequisite to turn villagers and farmers into successful entrepreneurs and innovators.
आप आनंद जैसे, अमूल जैसे गांवों का निर्माण करेंगे, गांव शहर होगा और शहर में रहने वाले गांव में आएंगे। ये इसका एक उदाहरण है। If you look at this, Vallabh Vidyanagar, or Anand, or go through the Amul story, or Irma, you really understand why people are coming here and why other people are going. It's एक स्वाभाविक प्रक्रिया हो गया शहर की ओर जाना. That became a natural process because everything is there located in urban areas. The story of Amul is really very, very inspiring. And we should replicate this story everywhere in the country so that the real empowerment of the rural people, the empowerment of agriculturists, and the empowerment of the woman.
Vice President Naidu also addressed the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the Charutar Vidya Mandir in Gujarat. He stressed that the future generation must be taught to remember him with admiration, respect, and gratitude, and understand his grand vision for India. The Vice President said that Sardar Patel firmly believed in empowering the people living in rural areas by providing value-based education. The Vice President said that students must be provided with new age education system that enables them to think out of the box and develop the spirit of entrepreneurship.
I am happy that Charutar Vidya Mandal, established in the year 1945 as a charitable trust and with the one prime objective, it aimed at rural development through education and sought to bring about social awakening, uplift and enrichment of the rural population of our country. Behind the establishment of this institution, there is the extraordinary vision of the great son of India, the unifier of India, the Iron Man of India, and the key architect of integration of Indian states, Sri Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. This is his vision. भारत का इतिहास, गुजरात का इतिहास, जो महान भावों ने हम देश के लिए, हमारा भविष्य के लिए जो भी अच्छा काम किया, उसका समारोह हमारा शिक्षा पद्धति में होना बहुत जरूरी है. We should have the history and tradition and culture of India as part of our education system. And we should have the life and teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel to all these great people. It should be part of the history so that the new generation, they will remember, they will be able to follow that.
And campaigning for the fourth phase of assembly elections in Jharkhand concluded on Saturday. 15 assembly seats will go to polls on Monday, for which a total of 221 candidates, including 23 women nominees, are in the fray in the elections. And on a campaign trail in Jharkhand, Home Minister Amit Shah reassured that the Citizenship Amendment Bill will not affect the people of Northeast in any way. He also targeted the Congress party, accusing it of stoking violence over the amended Citizenship Act.
अब हम सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल लेकर आए, आप नॉर्थ ईस्ट के अंदर आग लगाने में पड़े हो, आग लगाने में पड़े हो। मगर मैं आज इस मंच से आसाम और नॉर्थ ईस्ट के सभी राज्यों को कहना चाहता हूं कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट के भाइयों बहनों की संस्कृति, उनकी भाषा, उनकी सामाजिक पहचान और उनके राजनीतिक अधिकार अक्षुण्ण रहेंगे। इसको बचाने की जिम्मेदारी देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के नेतृत्व में चलती हुई सरकार की है। इसको हम तनिक मात्र भी आंच नहीं आने देंगे।
And External Affairs Minister S. Shankar has called for strong and meaningful steps to be taken by various stakeholders to ensure tangible and meaningful cooperative initiatives in the Indo-Pacific region. Addressing the 6th Indian Ocean Dialogue and Delhi Dialogue 11, Jaishankar said that Indo-Pacific region must benefit all the people of the region and called for increased connectivity among the countries involved.
The Indo-Pacific concept is not tomorrow's forecast, but yesterday's reality. Others speaking here these past 2 days have variously made the same point, which is in short, economic and civilizational impulses link the eastern and southern shores of Africa through the Gulf, the Arabian Sea island nations, the Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. We can certainly say that this is the way it has always been in our region, and perhaps this is as it should be. Appropriately, our discussions over the past 2 days also reflected the reality that we are yet to reach any kind of agreement, leave alone consensus, on the Indo-Pacific concept, or even its geographic extent. But equally, there was recognition that while there may be a multiplicity of views on the Indo-Pacific and all that it contains, while policymakers, diplomats, and academics congregate to iterate ideas, concepts, and strategies, there is equally a need to ensure that we do not get mired in a potentially misleading quest to find a complete identity of views on every element of every concept. On the contrary, the more important task at hand is to invest time and effort to use the Indo-Pacific as an open, free, and inclusive platform to deliver tangible and meaningful cooperative initiatives. For this to happen, it is in everyone's interest to ensure that the doors remain open to cooperation on as wide a platform as possible. In other words, it makes more sense for all of us to focus on what we do and with as many partners as possible. To put it differently, there must also be a tangible component beyond conceptual discussions. Take, for instance, the case of connectivity. There is clearly room for much more to be done within this region. What is needed is for us to find ways to build upon plans to enhance connectivity regionally and through sub-regional initiatives. As the Indonesian Foreign Minister, Her Excellency Retno Marsudi, reminded us in a keynote address yesterday, there is space for us to reclaim infrastructure connectivity on our own, within our region. Our effort to align our initiatives for cooperation with ASEAN, along with the Master Plan for ASEAN Connectivity, is an example of what we need to do.
News tonight. We'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
I'm at Kukiwon, the heart of Taekwondo.
Taekwondo began in South Korea as a mode of self-defense. Later, it took the shape of art form and also it became the part of Korean culture.
1976 में ताइक्वांडो फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया स्थापना हुआ। इसके बाद पूरा हिंदुस्तान में फैल गया।
Watch our special report on India-Korea Taekwondo history from Ground Zero, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
National Highway Authority of India is all set to make a toll collection fully electronic FASTags. The government has made it mandatory for all vehicle owners to adopt electronic toll payment using FASTags from Sunday. Vehicles FASTag in electronic toll collection lane will have to pay double the fee amount. RFID-based FASTags fixed on vehicle windscreens would enable toll to be debited from the linked account without requiring the vehicles to stop for transactions. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has said that at least 75% of toll lanes at toll plazas in the country must have electronic toll collection, temporarily relaxing the earlier mandate for 100% electronic toll collection on national highways. On to some weather news. And hit by heavy snowfall, the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway remains closed for the third consecutive day on Saturday. The highway has been closed for traffic since Thursday evening after heavy snowfall around the Jawahar Tunnel, the gateway to the Kashmir Valley. Efforts are on to clear the highway for traffic. Meanwhile, the air traffic to and from Kashmir has been restored on Saturday after remaining suspended for 7 consecutive days due to poor visibility caused by heavy fog and snowfall in the valley. Meanwhile, many places in Himachal Pradesh, including major tourist destinations of Shimla, Manali, Dalhousie, Dharamshala and Kufri, also received heavy snowfall, leading to sub-zero temperatures in the region. Due to snowfall in the Himachal and in Jammu and Kashmir, cold wave has hit North India. Delhi also saw a dip in temperature after receiving rainfall on Thursday and Friday. And now our special segment on climate and climate control. The ongoing United Nations Climate Change Conference has shown no indication of progress on the global goal of keeping global temperature rise to below 2 degrees Celsius. Developed nations, including Australia, Singapore, Japan and the US, have not delivered on their pre-2020 commitments, most important among them being mobilizing $100 billion per year to support developing nations in fighting climate change. India, China and Brazil have called out developed countries for the non-fulfillment of their targets and for the current inadequacy in global efforts to prevent the extreme impacts of climate change. On to some international news now. The US and Chinese negotiators have agreed in principle to an initial Phase 1 trade deal, cooling tensions somewhat between the two nations. The deal will see billions of dollars in tariffs removed or delayed in exchange for Chinese purchases of US farm goods. The deal will also delay another round of US tariffs scheduled to take effect from Sunday. Global stocks are propped on the news, hoping for continued softening of the trade tensions between the world's two largest economies. After a year and a half of fraught negotiations, the US and China announced a preliminary trade agreement on Friday. The so-called Phase 1 of the deal will see US reducing tariffs on about $360 billion worth of Chinese imports. In return, China has promised to buy large quantities of US soya bean, poultry, and other agricultural products. Moreover, a fresh wave of US tariffs on Chinese imports was due to take effect on Sunday. However, this has been cancelled for now. If the new higher tariffs had gone ahead, Chinese-made goods such as smartphones, clothing and toys would have become more expensive for Americans just ahead of Christmas.
经过中美两国经贸团队的共同努力，双方在平等和相互尊重的基础之上，已就中美第一阶段的经贸协议文本达成一致。
The agreement was hailed by US President Donald Trump as phenomenal. The rush to finalize the deal in the last 2 weeks comes as the US President is confronting the prospect of impeachment while seeking to boost his chances of re-election in 2020 with the help of farmers, a key segment that has been hurt by US-China trade war the most.
Phenomenal deal. The tariffs will largely remain, 25% on $250 billion, and we'll use them for future negotiations on the Phase 2 deal, because China would like to see the tariffs off, and we're okay with that.
Many retailers and business leaders breathed a sigh of relief, acknowledging the preliminary deal as a small step in the right direction. US stocks hit a fresh record on hopes that there will be a continued softening of trade tensions between the world's two largest economies. It is noteworthy that the trade war has slowed global growth and hurt American farmers and consumers. International Monetary Fund estimates that the US-China trade war could shave almost a percentage point off of the global growth this year.
总体上符合中国这个深化改革的一个大的方向，也符合呢中国自身推动经济高质量发展的内在需求。
While there has been a sigh of relief from all quarters, much work still needs to be done. Officials from both countries point to the necessary work ahead by the negotiators to complete a legal review and translation before finalizing the deal. Also left unclear is when the two sides will begin the second phase of their negotiation. Though Donald Trump says the talks would immediately, China said it would depend on the implementation of Phase 1. It is worth noting that the Phase 1 deal is just the beginning of the end. America imports $550 billion worth of products from China, and tariffs will remain on $370 billion of that. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. In more international news stories, after securing an emphatic victory in the UK election, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson expressed hope that his party's extraordinary election win will bring closure to the Brexit debate. Addressing a victory rally, Johnson hailed the Conservative Party's triumph as a powerful new mandate to move forward with his deal to leave the 28-member economic bloc on 31st of January. Conservative Party, remember, had won a massive 365 seats, their biggest election win since Margaret Thatcher's 1987 triumph in Thursday's elections.
In this election, your voice has been heard, and about time too. Because we politicians have squandered the last 3 years, 3.5 years, in squabbles about Brexit. We've even been arguing and about the tone of our arguments. I will put an end to all that nonsense, and we will get Brexit done on time by the 31st of January. No ifs, no buts, no maybes.
That we wrap up this edition of News Tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.